me for purposes of the interview. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Danielle Whittle, and I am a TLP specialist. Liz?
Hi, I'm Liz Carrubba. I'm the principal at Myers Park Traditional.
Okay, so the first question I have for you is 2 years ago, you decided to implement and bring TLP to Myers Park Traditional. Why did you decide to do that?
At the time, I was serving as an interim principal at Montclair Elementary, and they were already a part of the program. So I started learning more about it and working directly with Bechet. So when I got appointed as principal here, I realized we are a Leader in Me school and we do a lot of leadership things for our students. And I thought teacher leader pathway would be the perfect way to also have leadership instilled in our staff as well. So I decided to bring the program here pretty quickly after I was appointed that year.
Awesome. I think once you experience it in the school, it's exciting to see what it can
Mhm.
do and implement it there. Yeah. So your leadership responsibilities working with you this year, I've noticed that they're very clear for your EITs and MCLs and very transparent to your staff, which has been a really cool model to see. So can you tell me more about how you implement that?
Sure. So when I first started the program, it was really important to me to be as transparent with the staff as possible. Everyone knows they're getting a stipend or a bonus, so I wanted to be clear on the extra responsibilities that they were going to have. So I mapped those out. Each of my EITs and MCLs have additional things that they lead, such as committees or professional development. I have a clear spreadsheet for that, and the staff has access to that. Everyone can see that. I had honest conversations in staff meeting about how I was using this program and these positions. So I just think as transparent as you can be about the positions and the extra responsibilities, the better your staff feels about that.
Absolutely. And part of those responsibilities I've gotten to see is how they look at differentiated PD, your MCLs and your EITs, which I think is such a cool model. So can you tell me more about that?
Yes, so we decided this year, we looked at our walkthrough data last year as well as our academic data. And as ILT and TLP, we decided what we thought our focus should be for the year around professional development. So each month, the MCLs and myself, we lead PD for the whole staff on academic monitoring. We felt like that was the biggest area to focus on this year. And then my EITs talked about what breakout sessions might be most appropriate for the staff that they would benefit from. And then they each chose what they felt most comfortable with as far as leading. And then after I lead the academic monitoring sessions, the staff get to choose which PD session speaks the most to them. It also covers our three buckets for Leader and Me. So we have professional development around culture, academics, and leadership. And my EITs, again, they lead those sessions. And that was important to me for the staff to see them as leaders with the professional development and being model classrooms. So that's how we kind of organize that so that staff feel that they're choosing something that they really need to focus on.
I love it. It empowers your EITs and it gives your staff choice and their own professional development, which is such a cool thing. All right, switching gears to staffing. So at a non-Title I school, you amazingly had 11 positions, 3 MCLs and 8 EITs, and that's without having access to Title I funds. So how have you been strategic with your staffing and funding in order to make that happen?
So I use allotments and I also use the money given to me by the state and by the district to be able to do that. I just creatively look at, I just take one allotment really and split it up. And the way I implemented it at first was looking at my own staff and who would qualify for this position and encouraging them to apply and get in the pathway. So rather than hiring from outside, I really promoted from within with my own staff. And as we've gone throughout the program, people see how it works and they want to be a part of it. So I'm actually adding more EIT positions. Next year, I'm going to have 2 in third, 2 in fourth, 2 in fifth, and then 1 in K1, 2, and 3 MCLs next year. So it excites me to be able to continue to recognize the hard work that my teachers are putting in and be able to give them, this opportunity for their own leadership, but also to give them a little bonus for the work that they do. So I hope to just continue to be able to expand it as we go.
Yeah, and to have them distributed across the grade levels like that. What went into those decisions?
Well, a lot of what we hear too is everything is always focused on 3-5 with
Hmm.
testing. So it was important to me to be able to do this for a kindergarten, first grade, and second grade teacher as well, because without that early foundation, then we're struggling when the kids get to third grade. So it was important to me to have that across my school, that I think it's important in every grade level to have an EIT. And then my MCLs cover 2 grade levels each. So they're able to really strategically coach their teachers, be in their plannings, be in the work with them, model for them. And they also coach my EIT. So they meet weekly with them to prepare them for planning and things that they're going to lead. So it's really a top-down model. Our admin team coaches our MCLs.
Awesome. And I have spoken with your EITs, and I love it. That is a thing that's really held sacred to them. They say, oh, I've got my weekly meeting with my MCL coming up, and we're going to talk about this. So it's not something that they just say they're going to do. Like at your school, they are regularly meeting with their MCLs to drive the instruction and the data conversations, which is so cool.
Mhm.
How have your staff and students benefited from TLP?
Kind of just what I spoke to when I first got here. I noticed that we weren't really digging deep into data, that it was kind of surface level. So having my EITs be responsible for that, they make our data spreadsheets. They know the data for their grade levels. They present that to their teams. They work with the MCLs to come up with reteaching plans. So really just having them be over that, you can see the impact on our achievement over the last couple of years. We're projecting now at 76%. We were at 70 last year, and I think that's because we've done a better job of really knowing what our students need and providing early interventions early on in K2, and then attacking the standards that they need in 3-5. And that's really driven by my MCLs and my EITs.
What about pitfalls and challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
One of the things I would say, a lot of my teachers are qualifying as EIT 3s or 4s, and realistically, I can't make all of them 3s or 4s. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough allotment. So having those transparent conversations with them, I was luckily able to promote. All of my teachers are going to be EIT 2s next year. I was able to do that for them, but I don't know that I'll be able to keep going higher than that. So it's kind of a pitfall in that they qualify for this level, but I can't necessarily make them that high of a level. But for me, we have such a positive culture here. We do a lot to retain our teachers. So they're okay staying here, knowing that they want to be at our school. So they stay. But it is a pitfall. I wish I could make all of them 4s and pay them more money.
Yeah, I think we get that question a lot from principals, like how do I navigate those conversations? But ultimately, like you said, if it's a positive culture at the school, people want to stay. That's what matters to them, and that they have a principal who is actively developing their leadership. I'm not just an EIT with a title. These are the things I do. And that matters even if they don't get their maximum role.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, my last question for you is what advice do you have for principals who are brand new to TLP?
I would say develop the structure, develop what their roles and responsibilities are going to be, and be as transparent as you can with your staff. People do have questions, why are they getting more money? Why are they, getting this position? So I think as transparent as you can be, the better. And then having expectations for the people in the pathway. We meet once a month as a team. I also meet with them, at the end of the year and say, here's your responsibilities for next year. If this is still something you want to continue, let me know. If not, also let me know. Being as transparent and coaching them along the way as well is important for your staff to see that you're holding them accountable. They're at a different level of leadership now, and my expectations for them are different. And I tell them that, up front, and hold them to that. So I think that's the best way that you can go about this when you're first starting out, and also look at your own people, look at what you have on staff, because that's meaningful to them, that you are not hiring from outside, you're promoting from within.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thanks, Liz. Appreciate all of your advice and guidance today, especially with your wealth of TLP experience. So thanks for doing this for us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Absolutely.